Hello everyone, this is Akshat Jain and today we will be discussing about the Wavecon Insights presentation. So Wavecon is a telecom operating company in India which is having its operations across 15 cities in India, including metro and non-metro cities. Now the company is going through a very technical change across the 5G bandwidth spectrum across the cities which is it is operating. And to analyze the insights, we have generated four metrics or KPIs across the functionalities. So the four KPIs are first revenue, second is average revenue per user, total active users, and total unsubscribed users. So to analyze these four metrics, we have a special timeline which is the before 5G and after 5G period. Now to analyze the insights, the company has given us the data points from January till September, right? And also along with the company has given us some questions, so we will be discussing the questions and then analyzing the answers. Okay, so let's get to the first question that the company has asked. Okay, so the first question says that what is the impact of 5G launch on Wavecon's revenue? So let's go to the dashboard that we have created. Yeah. So this is the dashboard. And now if you see we have calculated four metrics, which is the revenue, average revenue per user, total active users, and total unsubscribed users. So in the revenue segment, if you see the average revenue uh, on monthly basis is around 4 billion rupees. And now if you see the after, so if you see the before 5G period, it is around 16 billion rupees, and after 5G it is around 15.9 billion rupees. So there's a change of minus 0.5% which has occurred from the before 5G and after 5G period. Now coming now going to the city view. If you see Mumbai is the highest revenue collecting city, followed by Delhi, Kolkata, Bangalore, and on the lower segment we have Raipur, Gurgaon, Chandigarh. But after 5G, if you see Mumbai has the highest revenue of around 2,452 million INR, followed by Kolkata and Delhi, also having the highest revenues after 5G period. Also showing the a positive sign. If you see Mumbai is showing a positive sign of 0.31%, right? And if you see the total change which has occurred is around minus 0.5% on the overall side. But if you see on the individual cities, so cities like Lucknow, Gurgaon, Patna, and Raipur have shown a positive change after 5G cities, despite having the non-metro cities. So which says that which says that the metro cities have faced slight declines. For example, Delhi, Chennai, and Ahmedabad has shown a negative change after 5G period on the revenue side. But if you see the smaller cities like Patna, Coimbatore have showed good growth. So if you see Coimbatore has so if you see Coimbatore before 5G it was having the revenue of 457 million INR, and after 5G it is also 457 million INR. So which is a which shows that this is a consistent performing city in terms of revenue. Now, the possible reasons for the negative change we can see on the after 5G period is because of early adoption challenges in bigger cities. Also, stronger 5G reception or marketing push to smaller cities like Patna, Coimbatore, Lucknow as well. Also, customer churn or technical issues may also be a reason for the negative change, right? Now, going to the second question. The second question says that which KPI is underperforming after the 5G launch? Okay, so for this question, we will be going to the dashboard that we have created. So we have calculated four metrics, which is the revenue, average revenue per user, and total active users as well as total unsubscribed users. Okay, so if you see the average revenue per user, so to measure the change we before and after 5G, we have calculated the change percentage. So on the average revenue per user on the before 5G period was 190 rupees, and after 5G it went to 211 rupees after 5G. So there's a change of around positive 11.05%. Okay, so now let's see the total active users. So total active users before 5G was around 84.4 million users, and after 5G it went to 77.4 million people after 5G. So now as you can see, it's a negative change of around minus of 8.28 percentage, which shows that many users have been dropped during this transition. And let's see, and at the last, let's see the total unsubscribed users. So before 5G, the unsubscribed users were around 5.6 million, and after 5G, it went to 7 million. So there's a change of around 23.5%. Now, in the question, it has asked which KPI is underperforming after the 5G launch. So clearly, you can see that on the total active users is the most challenging part that the company is facing, because many users are uh, dropping their platform and going to other platforms, right? So that's a change of minus of 8.28%. Now let's see the reasons for this. So total active users have been impacted the most, as we can see from the graph. Also, so the total users before, so the total users that the company is having is around 162 million users, including both before 5G and after 5G as well. Okay, so now before 5G the users were around 84.4 million. After 5G it went to 77.4 million. So the overall change was minus of 8.28%. So the number of users saw a significant drop after the 5G launch. Possibly the customers churned due to pricing, coverage issues, or device compatibility or dissatisfaction. Okay. Also, if you see the monthly trend, uh, the 5G and the 5G, the blue and black lines show a steady drop across the months. After the initial excitement of June and July peak, users active users gradually declined. So the final conclusions were, the first is overall impact. So the user base shrank by around minus of 8.28% after 5G. That is the first conclusion. Also, much more noticeable impact compared to revenue drop, which was around minus of 0.5%. So that's a major drop on the average revenue per user. On the total active users. Now, on the metro cities, if you see, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore lost many users, potentially due to dissatisfaction with the 5G service experience, or it can be due to pricing, or it can be due to network stability. Also, smaller cities like Pune and Lucknow gained users, possibly due to newer 5G opportunities or better marketing efforts. That may be the three reasons why the total active users have been declined, right? Now, going to the third question. The third question says that after the 5G launch, which plans were performing well in terms of revenue and which plans were not performing well? So let's go to the dashboard and let's see the plans view. Let's go. Yeah. So if you see, the company is having around 13 plans. Now, if you see closely, plan 1 to plan 10. So these were the plans which were operating before and after 5G. And now if you see, plan 1 to plan 7 are running before the 5G and after the 5G spectrum. Now, and the plans like plan number 8, P9, P8, P9, P10 have been discontinued after June, after April, because of the new 5G service that the company has launched. Also, there are some newer plans like P11, P12, and P13, which were launched after April, and these were the new 5G plans that the company is offering. Now, also, if you see P1, P2, and P3 are the most revenue generating plans of the company before and after the 5G spectrum. So if you see the P1 plan is the most revenue generating plan for the company, which accounts for 4.400 and 4,200 million INR it generates for the company alone. If you see P2, it generates around 3,000 million INR for the company, followed by P3, which uh, maintains around 2,615 million INR. So if you see the question says after the 5G launch, which plans are performing well in terms of revenue? So if you see the for the new 5G plans that the company has launched, which are P11, P12, and P13. So if you see P11, which accounts for around 1,860 million INR, it is the most successful plan for the company, along with P12, which is having a decent pace of around 40% smaller than P11. Why? Because it generates around 1100 million INR for the company. Also, P13 is a very small plan, but which is consistent across the months. So if you see P13 in June, P13 ca- uh, calculated around 72 million INR, then 82, 82, and then 79 in September. So it's a very small plan as compared to P11 and P12, but it is consistent across the 5G after 5G period. Now, if you see the old plans, that is from P11 to P10. So P11, P2, and P3 are very strong plans for the company, which dominate the revenue. Also, there are some lower tier plans which are like P7, P8, P9, and P10, which faded out post 5G. So if you see the operations in the P10, P10, P9, and P8 have been declined after April because of the new 5G spectrum. So these plans have been discontinued. Also, if you see uh, P6 and P5 are the low tier plans which are generating low revenue for the company. So now let's go to the conclusions. So there are some premium plans which are like P1 and P2, which held strong even 5G and have a loyal base for the customers. Also, there are some lower plans which are like P7, P8, P9, and P10, which died out after the 5G rollout because they are showing no data points across after April. So these plans have been discontinued by the company. Also, if you see, there are some newer plans which are specifically targeting the 5G spectrum and targeting new customer base. So which are P11 and P12 because these are the most high revenue generating plans in the after 5G period. So which captured around significant market share fast. So if you see the summary says P1 remains the overall number one plan for the company, which is the most dominating plan. Also, after the new launch success, P11 became a major revenue driver after the 5G rollout. Now, for the user migration, users moved from old lower tier plans to new 5G plans. Also, market stability is a very crucial point for this thing. So, if you see, despite the overall 8% user drop, which I've seen earlier, revenue stayed relatively stable because of strong adoption of premium priced 5G plans. So these new 5G plans have stabilized the revenue after the 5G launch. So which says that more users are coming to their platform to use the 5G service. Also, they are able to spend more or a premium price to use the 5G service offered by the company. Now let's go to the fourth question. The fourth question says that is there any plan affected largely by the 5G launch? Should we continue or discontinue that plan? Okay, so which are the plans which have been launched after the 5G, which were P11, P12, and P13. So these are the new 5G plans offered by the company. So let's see the plans which have been affected most by the 5G launch. So if you see P7 plan is the most highlighting part. So if you see P7 before the 5G, which is around from January till April, the P7 plan was generating revenue per month was in the range of 120 million INR to 156 million INR. But after the 5G launch, the revenue from this plan, that is P7, have been dropped from 150 million or 146 million to 33 million INR. And it has shown a consistent trajectory from 33, 35, 45, and 43. So it is the most, so the revenue in this plan has been dropped by the most because earlier it was generating around 156 million INR per month and it has dropped to around 35 to 45 million INR per month. So it is that plan which has affected the most, right? So P7 is that plan. Also, if you see, revenue plunged after April because of 5G, and also it has tiny numbers like around 33 million to 45 million after the 5G launch. So this clearly shows that customers have clearly migrated away from the P7 plan. So the company may discontinue this plan in the future terms. Also, if you see P8, P9 and P10 are the plans which have shown less growth after the 5G rollout. So if you see P8, P9 and P10 have been clearly discontinued after the 5G rollout. Also, P8 was used to generate a good revenue around 94 million to 110 million before the 5G, but now it has discontinued. Also, if you see P9 and P10 were the lower revenue generating plans, and I think it's a good decision to remove these plans by the company. Okay, so now if you see P8 is having the same trend because no revenue was generated after the 5G launch, which clearly says that the company has discontinued the plans. Also, the numbers were very small in size, that is 59 to 58 million, which is very small for the company. Also, if you see P9 and P10 became irrelevant after 5G and show very little activity after the post 5G months. Now, the business suggestion that I want to give is that phase out P7 to P10 gradually with communication. Also, encourage upgrades into P11 to P12 by offering discounts and bonuses because these are the new 5G plans which can generate more revenue and attract more customers to use the 5G service offered by the company. Now, the third focus should be on the marketing on 5G plans. Also, maintain premium old plans like P1 to P3 for loyal customers who didn't shift yet because these plans like P1 and P2 are the most revenue generating plans for the company till date, before 5G and after 5G as well. Okay, uh, yeah. So now fifth question is that is there any plan that has been discontinued after the 5G launch and what was the reason for it? So yes, there's a clear sign that P7, there's a clear sign that P8, P9 and P10 have been discontinued after the 5G rollout. And P7, in the case of P7, it is active, but it has shown a very less growth after the 5G rollout that we have seen earlier. Okay, so now thus it is not showing any data after April now, because as you can see, P8, P9, and P10 after April there are no numbers which shows that they have been discontinued, and no revenue from these plans from June onwards. The reason for discontinuation is that likely due to 5G rollout. Also, these plans may have been based on older network technologies like 3G or 4G. So in that case, if the company wants the customers to use the 5G service, they have to discontinue the older plans working on the older technology like 3G or 4G. Also, the companies often retire older plans to promote new 5G compatible plans, right? So what is the quick summary? So which are the plans which have been discontinued and want to be discontinued for the company? So the plans are P7, P8, P9, and P10. And why? So 5G plans are introduced and older plans become outdated. And what should be the customer behavior? So the customer wants to be upgraded to the newer and faster plans running on 5G technology. And what should be the business move? So the business move should be to discontinue low value legacy plans like P7 and P9 and P10, which are low revenue generating plans for the company. So that is my presentation, guys. And if you want to connect with me or have any doubts, I have pasted the live dashboard link in the PDF in the presentation basically. And if you have any doubts regarding the presentation, you can reach out to me by using my LinkedIn ID. And if you want to review my work and projects, you can always have my GitHub profile, and I will be pasting the link in this presentation. So this is Akshat Jan, and this is my presentation for Wavecon Insights, and this is Akshat Jan signing off.